mayor comes to work on a push bike, for goodness sake. The mayor of London, one of the biggest cities in the world, and he comes on a push bike. And the other one used to jump on the tube. And there was nothing controversial about either. And now the current mayor can't do that. And if he does go on the tube, he's got to have full protection with him. And the only reason for that is because the amount of threats that come his way. That gets us down to the whole thing of division in politics. I mean, a lot of that might be on social media. I'm the last person to want to defend Sadiq Khan. I think he's a woeful politician. He's profoundly inadequate in that role as mayor of London. However, I don't wish the bloke any harm, for goodness sake. But there are others around that perhaps don't feel like that. And as a result of the kind of, it's deemed and graded to be of such importance that the mayor of London now has more protection than the Secretary of State for Defence, for goodness sake. This is Robert, down in London. Robert, how are you doing?
Oh, honestly, good to speak to Ian.
You too.
Very sad what's happened, because the more I find out about this Sir David Amess guy, the more you realise he was really one of the good ones, it seems.
Yeah.
Very devoted to his job, and yeah, I mean, I think it's lovely that the local museum community have come out, and he had close links with them, and anyway, the whole thing is terrible, obviously. But what worries me is the way that, in our politics today, whenever something big happens, Ian, have you noticed how a lot of the clowns who run the country just seem to want to capitalise on the opportunity and just distract and push the attention into another place to get what they've got on their agenda anyway. Mm-hmm. So it looks like it was a terrorist attack, right? But we're not talking about terrorism, And what we're now saying is, and this really scares me, is these MPs are saying, oh, well, as a result of our policies, it seems it's getting a bit dangerous for us, so we might want some extra protection. But, of course, I've got children, Ian, I've got a wife and myself. I'm at risk. So what we're saying is the people who make the policies that I don't agree with, because I don't agree with open borders, and I am half black, and my mother came here in the 1960s from the Caribbean, and she didn't agree with open borders either, and neither do all my Caribbean relatives. When I tell them what we do in this country, they actually can't believe me at times, right? I'm like, so you're going to protect yourselves and insulate yourselves and just carry on with a policy that we all know it's about cheap labour. That's why they want these open doors policies.
I mean, it's just to pick you up on that point, it's not strictly open door, but you're saying it's a bit too easy to get here.
Well, open door. I mean, Ian. People get on a dinghy and come over.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean that's illegal immigration, isn't it? I thought you were talking about legal immigration.
Well, whether it's legal or illegal now, it doesn't seem to matter. 350,000 people make their way to the UK every year, and we know that the terrorist groups, ISIS, said and have repeatedly said they will send people to harm us through the illegal immigration. But it carries on. And instead of talking about that, the elephant in the room that we've avoided discussing for 25 years, and as a result we've seen grooming gangs, we've seen terrorist atrocities. What we're talking about now is, let's put some armed police around MPs.
Yeah. And actually, there's a much wider issue about assimilation. It's a cracking point, Robert.
Listen. You know what? So I let you into the big secret, which I reckon you probably know because your station is open. Many ethnic minorities think the way I do. This idea that the modern left, they've got nothing to do with the working man. The ideas that the modern left talks about, which is if you don't agree with them, you're a racist. The ethnic minorities are many are small C conservatives. They've had to go through the how to get here the proper way. This is about who we're bringing into the country. And our country rises and falls, one, with leadership, so no wonder we're falling, but two, also the people we invite here.
I'm just trying to think of what, if you like, your archetypal left-winger would say listening to this. They would say, well, although we can't talk about the detail of this, the person arrested on Friday was a British national. We know that from previous attacks, we're invariably talking about people who are, I mean, British in name. I don't think culturally or in any way assimilated with British values, but they wouldn't be people that you could have stopped because of closing a border or having a more rigid security system when it comes to applying for asylum, because they were already here.
Well, yeah, but okay, so the guy who bombed the arena in Manchester was picked up by the Royal Navy in the Mediterranean, right? What we've got to start doing is you've got to ignore all this guilt that's put on the kids in the schools and how terrible we are a country. We've got to say, actually, we're a great country with a great people, very welcoming people, the indigenous, and we have to all pull together. It doesn't matter whether your country is England or France or whatever. You live under one flag, and you ask what you can do for that country, because in the end, in serving your country and your community and your family, you will end up in a better place. What we've got now are people who come here, and we've got people in Parliament who champion for the most. Well, they're not very good people, some of the people we're championing. The human rights lawyers always seem to want to defend the rapist or the murderer or the terrorist. And then before someone says it, oh, you're saying that all immigrants are this. I am someone of an immigrant, right? Stop guilt-tripping people. And now I have to say, I like it when people try and call me out that way, because it means I've won the argument, because they can't argue with me, so they name-call instead.
Yeah.
And the result of which, this amazing gentleman, and he was amazing, gets stabbed 17 times. And I've seen the photos of his kids and his family. It's so saddening, right? But this will carry on and on and on, because in the end, this is about money. Westminster wants cheap labour, so they let the people come, and they get me to pay the taxes to look after them while they're in their hotel.
No, I hear what you're saying. I think the argument about cultural assimilation is absolutely fascinating and has been criminally thrown on a back burner, almost as if it's a slightly inconvenient minor facet to the debate, when it's actually right at the top. 0344 499 1000. That's Robert in London. Back on the phones with you on Talk Radio next.
Online, on DAB, and on the Talk Radio app.